This Emerging Issues Forum is sponsored by Front Wave Credit Union.
Front Wave Credit Union fights for their members, those dedicated to country and community, family and friends, for banking, lending, saving, planning, dream big. They got you. They're Front Wave Credit Union, and they've been making financial dreams come true since 1952. Check them out at frontwavecu.com. All right, good morning, everyone. I know you all, but my name is Scott Ashton with the Oceanside Chamber. And our presenter this morning is Commissioner Patricia Sinay of the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. She's going to give an update on the work of the commission. And just a little background, in November of 2008, California voters passed the Voters First Act, authorizing the creation of the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to draw new district lines, taking the job out of the hands of the California Legislature and transferring it to the citizens. In 2010, the Voters First Act for Congress added the responsibility of drawing congressional districts to the commission. So just a quick note, we'll be taking questions towards the end of the presentation, but per California Government Code, commission members will not be taking public input during educational presentations. So there is an opportunity for public input, and that information is in the chat box. So with that, Commissioner Sinay, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me today. So I am a neighbor to the south of you all. I live in Encinitas, and I am the only commissioner that is from San Diego, which there's only 14 commissioners, so you can't get people from every single county. And I'll talk a little bit about the. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this set up correctly. There we go. Whoops, I shared the wrong one. Sorry. You all got to see yourself twice. All right, that should be it. Everyone can see it now? I'm taking that as a yes. All right, so yes. So as Scott said, I can't take any information from you exactly on how you'd like to see your district lines, but you are a critical part of drawing fair and representative maps, and one of the three big pools of data that we need. So I will let you know how you can get involved, all the different ways. And I encourage you to get involved, as well as tell at least 10 colleagues, friends, neighbors to get involved as well, because we want to hear from as many Californians as possible. So this is your redistricting commission for 2020. It is the 14th most diverse group of people that I have ever worked with. We have yet to meet in person. We were affected by COVID as much as everybody else. To become a commissioner, it was a year-long process. It started with 22,000 people saying, I'm interested. Then they sent us a long form application, and 2,000 submitted it. We went through social media audits, send in our financials, interviews. It took over a year. We had a 90-minute interview, and then it was a ping pong ball lottery. And the first 8 were selected, and those first 8 selected the final 6. We are 7 from Northern California, 7 from Southern California, 8 women, 6 men. We range from 30 to in our 60s. Our professional experience is everything from nonprofit leaders, pastors, law enforcement, lawyers, public servants, and engineers, a little bit of everything. And, how did I choose to be one of those 22,000 that submitted, that said, hey, this looks kind of interesting? Well, according to my mom, when I was in 3rd grade, I came running home saying, Mommy, 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 I know what I want to be when I grow up. And she said, what? I go, I want to be the first female president of the United States. And she wasn't sure to go ahead and, encourage that, or to, tell me the truth, which would dissuade me. And she ended up telling me the truth. And she said, "Mija, you were born in Mexico. You can't be the president of the United States." And according to her, she went on and said, "And sweetheart, you can't be the president of Mexico because in Mexico, your parents need to be born in Mexico." And my mother's Peruvian and my dad's Argentine. So that evening, I went running to my dad and said, "Papi, papi, papi, life's not fair. I can't be the president of the United States or Mexico." And his response was, "Mija, I completely understand. Growing up, I knew I couldn't be the president of my country, Argentina, because the Constitution was clear that you had to be Catholic and I was Jewish." So that was my awakening that democracy is not always inclusive. Not everyone can participate in every aspects of it, but everyone is critical for a strong democracy. And my whole career has been about promoting civic engagement, nonprofits. I'm a nonprofit and philanthropic consultant. I have lived in San Diego for over 23 years, 23, 24, I've lost track. Working with San Diego Foundation for many years, and then just working with different nonprofits and foundations, both in San Diego, Orange County, and really nationally and internationally. So what is redistricting? It's the process of redrawing new boundaries, and that which will determine how Californians are represented in each electoral district. So at the California Citizen Redistricting Commission, we draw 4 boundaries for 4 different government bodies. As my colleague likes to say, we draw about 170 maps, not 4 maps. But this is an example in this slide of the 4 maps and what they look like for the city of Sacramento, for the Sacramento region, I should say. So we will be doing congressional maps, which is 52 districts, about 760,000 people. State Senate, which is 40 districts, about 988,000. State Assembly is 80 districts, 494,000. And Board of Equalization is 4 districts at 9.8 million people. Please note that there are other redistricting efforts taking place, at the city level, at the county level, and there might even be at school boards and other district levels. I know the County of San Diego is going through their redistricting process. The City of San Diego, Escondido, Chula Vista, and Carlsbad have all elected to do independent redistricting commissions. Encinitas just made the decision of not doing an independent redistricting commission, and that they would do it with input from the community, they meaning City Council. But please do get involved in all of them. And my goal today is to make it feel easy, not difficult, to tell us what you want. So why do we redo the maps? Well, think about how much changes in 10 years. Just think about your own neighborhood. Now expand that the entire county and the state. People are born, they die, they move within California, out of California, and within California. As communities grow and shrink, there's shifts in community priorities, interests, and goals. So we're trying to make sure that we can get those communities that were roughly the same number of people to be equal again and representative. So, why is this important to you? Well, the California Redistricting Commission believes that people should choose their elected officials and not the other way around. Redistricting is about community and ensuring that communities have a say on how government power, funding, and programs are distributed locally. Redistricting has been used at times to exclude communities from political power. By fully participating in and monitoring the upcoming redistricting process, more communities may have an opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Speaking up about your community is critical to help keep your community whole to the extent possible. I think, to you individually, if you want to think about it, something that's really important is that redistricting in California is one of the few civic activities that all Californians can participate in. You can provide input no matter if you're registered to vote or not, your age, your education level, your citizenship level. Everybody who lives in California is invited to participate. The power, as as was shared, the power came to the people in 2008 and 2010. There was a Voter First Act, and that transferred the power of drawing district maps away from politicians and gave it to the people. The 2008 was about state electoral, and 2010 was about congressional. This allows you to really think through, having an opportunity to elect representatives that champion your issues that, that's important to you. As we know, Northern San Diego has different issues than Southern, the South Bay or East County. And for this reason, you want to look at, you want to be able to draw, you want us to draw maps that reflect the communities that have similar issues. Again, finding someone who cares about your issues and also your funding priorities. You want someone who's going to really push for those programs and funding for your community. And finally, because this is about map, we do need to know your community boundaries. And that's important to let us know. So what is how do we draw these maps? So first of all, we need the reapportionment numbers, which are the congressional seats. And we already know that it's 52. And then we need the census redistricting information, which is the census data at the more granular level. So we were allocated 52 congressional seats, which is the largest congressional delegation in the United States, based on the larger numbers of the census, the state numbers, and so that's how they came up with that. And then finally, we need the communities of interest, which is really community maps, public input. And we're going to talk more about that, but that's where you come in. This might be a good time just to explain a little bit about the census delays. The pandemic really created significant delays for the census. We were supposed to get the reapportionment data by the end of 2020, so by December 31st, and we didn't get it. We didn't receive it until end of April. We were supposed to receive the census data by April 1st, the census redistricting data by April 1st, and we didn't get that. We haven't gotten that. We're hoping to get it August 16th, but it'll be mid-August to late September. So these delays give us more of an opportunity this summer to collect public input or community maps, or as the redistricting nerds call it, communities of interest. Having said that, this timeline may put a little pressure on the actual drawing of lines, because a lot of that will also be taking place during the holidays. But please know that we're working closely with diverse stakeholders to create a process that allows robust public participation in redistricting and takes into account the 2022 election timeline. No one can say they're running for a certain district right now because we don't know what those districts are. So we're kind of all in this together and are working closely to make sure that we continue a strong civic culture in California. So historically, politicians do the electoral maps, and in most of the country, and even most of the county and most of the state, that's still what happens. The results of these maps were to serve the political interests rather than the public good, and gerrymandering is often common. Gerrymandering is the practice of dividing or arranging election districts in a way that gives one political party an unfair advantage in elections. Independent redistricting commissions matter. We're incredibly fortunate to live in a state and a county that's blazing trails on redistricting. The County of San Diego was the first county to have an independent redistricting commission. And why did we create these independent redistricting commissions? Well, it was really to ensure the ideal of one person, one vote, impartiality, and fairness. Independent redistricting commissions matter because we're independent of elected officials. Commissioners were selected for diversity of professional and lived experience, and they're citizens. They're not professional redistricting folks. We have very strict criteria when drawing the lines. Everything we do is in public, no closed doors, and that's why I can't take any input from you all today, because all the commissioners aren't here and we're not open to the entire public. And we require your input. We require public input throughout the process, and I'll explain the different times that you can share your thoughts. So what are those strict criteria? There's 6 of them, and we must follow them in this order. The first one comes from the Constitution, and it states that nearly every district needs to be of equal population. So every district in the United States, every congressional district will be about the same population. Number two, districts must comply with the Voting Rights Act to ensure that minorities have a fair opportunity to elect representatives of their choice. Number three, districts must be drawn contiguously so that all parts of the district are connected to each other. Number four, districts must minimize the division of cities, counties, neighborhoods, and communities of interest to the extent possible. There we go, talk about communities of interest again. Number five, districts should be geographically compact such that nearby areas of the population are not passed by for more distant populations. This requirement refers to density and not shape. So you may still get funny looking shapes. Where practical, we'll try to nest. And this means each Senate district should be comprised of 2 complete and adjacent assembly districts, and the Board of Equalization districts should be comprised of 10 complete and adjacent state Senate districts. So again, we have to follow these criteria 1 through 6 in this order. If we get to 5 or 6 and following the requirement means that we can't do 1 through 4, then we can't do number 5. And so that part gets kind of complicated sometimes because people say, well, I thought you had to nest. How come you didn't nest? Well, because it was kind of difficult to nest and do everything else above it. Finally, in the places of residence, we can't know where incumbents or political candidates live, or we can't consider where they live. In San Diego, we're a big city with a small town feel, and we may already know that, but we can't take that into consideration. And districts cannot be drawn for the purpose of favoring or discriminating against an incumbent, a political candidate, or a political party. So communities of interest. When drawing of maps, we are mindful of communities of interest. We can obtain the city and the county information. We can get a lot of data from other places, but we can't get the stories and without you. Communities of interest are defined as a concentrated population that share common social and economic interests that should be included within a single district for the purpose of its effective and fair representation. An easier way to say that is, what are the communities that you want to be represented with? Who are the communities that you work, live, play, celebrate, protest, pray, learn with? And why? And then let us know why you want to stay together, why it's important to be represented together. I usually like to say, let's just make sure that you are going to help us put a face to the data. Please note that you can belong to more than one community. For instance, you may be a Latina who's a veteran, who owns a small business, who likes to surf and has 3 children in different school districts. Each of those is a different community of interest, and you may submit a different map for each of those. When we ask for your community of interest or a community map, we're not asking you to draw the full state map or even a district map. We're just asking you to give us a snapshot of your community. Just put those faces and those stories to the data. Keep in mind that a community of interest is not the same as a district, and a community of interest cannot be a political party. So how do you share your communities of interest? Really, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. We want you to describe it in a narrative. We want you to draw it, put it actually on a map, and then send it to us. We do have a community of interest tool. And you can find it at drawmycacommunity.org, and we put the link in the chat. And that tool will walk you through the narrative. It'll ask you 4 questions, and then it will take you, the second half of it will help you draw your map. It's like a Google map, and then tools so that you can draw your map. And then you can submit it directly to us at the commission. The tool is in, I think, 14 languages. And if the whole digital thing's not your thing, we are creating a paper tool so that you can do the same thing. And then the tool, it'll be a kind of a self-sealing, submit it to us. It's already going to be stamped. And finally, if you just want to do it on your own, we've received a lot of emails with people's communities of interest, call-ins, And we are, and I'll tell you in a second, give you all the detail. On July 10th, we're doing our first community of interest meeting here in San Diego. It will be virtual, but it's open to all, but we're looking especially to focus on San Diego County and Imperial County. So put that on your calendar for July 10th. And how to register, I put a link in the chat as well. So you don't need to wait for a hearing. As I said, you can submit your communities of interest now. Go ahead and submit them now. And the reason I like the tool is that you can take more time. You only get 3 minutes when you call into one of our public meetings, but you can take as much time as you need and to do the research and put it all together. When you work on the tool, you can start and stop as you need. There are no rules on how to give us your communities of interest, but here are some of the basic elements that will help you define your community and submit a meaningful community of interest. Use stories. Personal stories are powerful. Tell us about your community. How did you come together? What do you share? What celebrations do you share? What's your history? And then bring in data. Describe what connects your community and why it's important to keep it together. And use statistics for your map. Include data on ethnicity, religious groups, education levels, business sectors, employment. All those things are really important. You considered using reliable sources such from SANDAG or Census Bureau, Department of Labor. Just share some information. And then what are the issues that bring you together? Why do you want to be represented? A lot of times communities come together because they feel that they haven't been heard or their issues haven't been addressed adequately by their elected representatives. Highlight those community issues in your personal stories and written narrative. And finally, we would like maps. Maps help us, especially if we know the exact boundaries. So along with your stories, issues, data, put your community on the map and let us know what it looks like. And again, you can use our community of interest tool. You can call in to one of our public meetings, or you can or submit it any other way you want. We will anything submitted in another language, we will make sure to translate it. So in addition to submitting communities of interest, we have other ways you can get involved. As you can tell, I've kind of took the liberty of making this timeline very general because we don't know yet what our timeline will be. We're just finishing up our public awareness sessions and we have moved into already our community of interest submissions, our public input submissions. In the fall, once we get the redistricting information and the COI information and the reapportionment information, we can begin to start drawing the lines. And as we're drawing those district lines, the community, will be all done in public. And so there will be time for the public to call in and say, you guys are kind of you didn't really quite hear us, or this doesn't make sense for this reason. So you can give us an input, and you can even say, hey, you guys are doing a great job. We like hearing that sometimes. In November, we'll have our first draft maps. And again, they'll be held for 14 days. We can't do anything for 14 days. And so that we can accept community input, and the community once again can tell us what's right and what's wrong on the maps. We will take all that information and continue working on the maps and continue taking community input through the maps. We hopefully will have a second draft map. Again, community can tell us yes, no, and then a final map. We are hoping to have a final map that we submit to Secretary of State Shirley Weber by early 2022. As I said, language access is really important. If you know anyone who needs a translator for any of our meetings, or both our business meetings as well as our input meetings, please let us know 5 days in advance. All our materials online are translated in 12 to 14 languages. We're doing the best we can to really let people feel welcomed. And if you can help us with outreach, just so that all communities know that they're welcome. You can contact us by going to our website, wedrawthelinesca.org. And that's the best place really, because if you go to our website, you can get all the other information, including getting to the tool and finding out our email and our phone number and our mailing address. Do follow us on social media, because that's a great way to just keep getting refreshers on what's redistricting, what's a community of interest, as well as the dates for the different public meetings. And the public meetings are open to all Californians. We just focus in certain areas while it's virtual. It's easy for anyone to call into any of them, but we are doing some focusing in specific areas just to help us mainly with outreach. Thank you so much for your time today. Gracias, Salamat. A reminder, I can't take public input on the maps or what you would like, how you would like things to move around, but I can take questions. And I invite you again to please participate on July 10th or use our community of interest tool, and please tell at least 10 people. All right. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. Great information for those of us that love to engage deeply in the political process, which I think is just about everyone on this call. So we do have a question in chat. Will the preliminary maps have a legend to tell us what data was used to draw the maps?
Yeah, so the communities of interest that have been submitted are going to be made public as soon as we get our database management, everything set up. So we apologize that we didn't have that set up before we have been collecting communities of interest. So you can always look to see at what other people have said, what other communities have said. Okay, I shouldn't say you can always. You will always be able to once we have it set up. We will also be using the census data. Any lines that we draw, we do need to, any districts that we draw, we do need to give our reasons why. So that will be included as well.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have a question? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I do want to say, in case you didn't get it, we were at 53 districts and for the United States, for California, and now we're at 52. So every district is going to change, every congressional district, and we really do expect the state Senate and state assembly districts to change as well because of demographic shifts. So your input on how you want to be represented is really important. Everybody's input is important because things are going to change. The other day I presented to a group that was in the 53rd congressional district, and they were like, wait, what happened? There's only 52 now? And so no one is losing their representation. You're just gaining new neighbors.
Great, thank you for bringing that up, because with those changes, it's all the more important that we engage in the process this time around. So with that, Commissioner, I just want to thank you for spending time with us this morning. We are going to put this on our YouTube channel, and we'll be sharing this out to the community to encourage their engagement in the process. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. And again, please do participate and engage at least 10 people. I'm hoping that if everyone who hears our presentations engages 10 people, that we'll get a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, we're going to move into our legislative reports right now. And so representing Congressman Mike Levin is Jessica Ramirez.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So I'll go ahead and get started. Last meeting, we had mentioned the training and high demand roles to improve veteran employment. It now has been signed into law as of June 8th. During our last meeting, it had just passed the Senate, but now it is law. And as was mentioned last time, it was introduced by the Congress member, Mike Levin, with ranking member Mike Bost of the Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Economic Opportunity, and it's to improve veterans' job training and education benefits. As well, the other thing that we have as an update is the community funding project requests that we have sent in that are transportation related are expected to pass the House this week. The congressman did send in other project funding requests for Oceanside, and we're still waiting to hear for those to see if they get included in the specific appropriations bills that the projects would fall under. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on the status of those as time passes along. Rep. Levin also introduced bipartisan legislation supporting families of the Fallen Act to strengthen life insurance support for military families. Last time we also mentioned the renaming of the San Diego VA Medical Center that was introduced by the Congressman on June 1st. And it currently has 28 co-sponsors. And so we're also waiting to, we're monitoring that, and we'll update you as soon as we have an update on that. And in addition to that, Rep. Levin's constituent of the month for June was Encinitas native Joel Gomez, who is a Paralympic athlete who is a medal award-winning member of the U.S. Paralympic track and field team. And he has participated in races in Switzerland, Peru, Dubai, and hopefully Tokyo soon. So if you have any questions about this, I'm going to put my email in the chat and you can reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it. Next from Senator Bates' office is Chris Marsh.
Good morning. Thanks again for having me, as always. First, I wanted to note that, as you know, Senator Bates is the vice chair of the Housing Committee, and she was very happy to report earlier in June that San Diego County is going to be getting another round of LEAP grant funding here in North County, San Diego. So North County, San Diego will be receiving $500,000 in LEAP grant funding to create more housing supply. I know that's of particular interest to everyone here, especially coming out of the pandemic. Hopefully a lot of this assistance will head towards facilitating more workforce housing throughout the region. Additionally, I wanted to point out that one of the senator's bills, SB 214, which will permanently grant to the authority to establish neighborhood electric vehicle transportation, has passed through the Senate. It's on its way to the Assembly. We're very hopeful that this will continue its path through and be signed by the governor later this year. The senator also authored a bill that passed through the Senate, SCR 12, which will name the portion of Interstate 5 through Carlsbad as the California Fire Chief William R. Clayton Memorial Highway. Chief Clayton spent 50 years as a public servant throughout the state of California, particularly with the U.S. Forest Service in Southern California. He is a hero, and we're very happy to see that bill pass. And we're hoping that the governor will sign it. And then also I wanted to comment on the budget vote. The senator voted against the budget, but it did pass. In her comments, she said that, among other things, she had hoped that more of the budget would go towards replenishing the rainy day fund and paying down our debt. There is much to support in the budget. However, she felt that it fell short, especially fell short in what it did for businesses coming out of the COVID-19 shutdown, and that the debt is essentially a jobs tax at a time when many businesses are still struggling to emerge from the COVID-19 shutdown. The budget also contains far too many new spending commitments that will be unaffordable in the long run. That is my report, unless anybody has any questions.
Chris, I just want to add a thank you to the senator for the third time in 5 years choosing an Oceanside Chamber member for the Small Business of the Year. And this time it was Charlie Anderson from the Privateer. So thank you.
Yep. And thank you for everything you guys do. And thank you to Mr. Anderson. He was a very, it was an easy choice for the senator, given all the things that he has done for the community throughout the past year.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
I should have mentioned that, but I don't think we've announced it yet. So he may have scooped me there, Scott, but that's totally okay.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it. No, we're happy to have that out there. So no, thank you for directing us towards him as a nominee.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Next from Assembly Member Tasha Borna-Horvath's office, we have Fernando Hernandez.
Hi, thanks, Scott, and good morning, everyone. So the Assembly member recently secured critical funding to continue investing in our district from the state budget. For Oceanside, this included over $660,000 for the Brick Street Pool rehabilitation in the city of Oceanside, which is great. You know, it serves two really critical underserved communities in Oceanside, including Crown Heights and in the east side. So we're very excited to see that funding come to Oceanside. For the city of Vista, the assembly member brought in $5 million to replace the old Taylor Street fire station and provide $3.5 million for a solar project in the Civic Center. Also $600,000 for the Bringle Terrace Park. So we're very excited to continue investing in Vista. And the assembly member was able to secure $2.5 million to boost research in coastal erosion and initiate the development of an early warning system for bluff collapses. So coastal issues will continue to be one of the assembly members' top priorities, especially when it comes to the important public safety needs to address bluff collapses along our region. And we're very excited to see that funding be approved by the legislature. On some of the assembly members' legislation, I did want to update you all that the governor did sign her Assembly Bill 341 into law. So this law provides additional protections to victims of sexual assault by expanding the rape shield law to include the evidence from social media accounts. So by doing this, we're giving judges the opportunity to demonstrate the relevance of this evidence before it's introduced into open court, in an attempt to discredit a victim's in a sexual assault prosecution. So the assembly members very happy to see this pass to update the law with the rise in technology, and we thank DA Summer Steffens for her partnership and awareness of the need for this update. And lastly, just some updates and with what our district team's been up to. This month, we're back in the office full time, so we're all very excited to be out in the community again. So feel free to say hi if you see me out and about. Definitely happy to catch up with everyone. This month, we also started our first 2 sessions with our Women's Empowerment Network. So this is an initiative started by the assembly member to give college-age young women the opportunity to hone in and develop their professional skills, to learn about different careers in the district and learn about issues that are most prevalent in the district and how those are being addressed in the state level. So we're very excited to have our first cohort of enthusiastic women who are eager to learn more about the district. So I'll be happy to share their progress with you all as we continue this program. And lastly, I want to thank Scott and the Chamber for helping us with our small business tours in Oceanside. We visited Elements Massage and Studio Ace, and we were happy to meet with both owners and talk about their experiences during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the assembly member, really values their input on how the state can better support small businesses, in the future and during the recovery period from this past year. So with that, I'll just leave it at that. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time.
Thank you very much, Fernando. From Supervisor Jim Desmond's office, we have Crystal Jabara.
Good morning, everyone. And first off, we want to thank Scott and the Chamber for including Supervisor Desmond in the Oceanside Heroes Award. What a great evening in person at a beautiful golf course in Oceanside. So thank you for including the supervisor. It was a fun night. And congratulations to all the heroes that you awarded. It was not a 14-hour Board of Supervisors meeting, so that was a huge victory for us. We had more of a normal meeting where they passed the budget for the year, so it's almost $7 billion county budget. So it's a big increase, 8 new departments at a staffing cost of an additional $100 million or close to $100 million in new staff being brought on to the County of San Diego. So that took a long time to go through, but they did approve that budget. And on a grants note, the supervisor awarded at the last board meeting an additional $50,000 to the city of Oceanside for the replastering of the Marshall Street and the Brooks Street pool. On a personal note, I learned to swim at Marshall Street Pool. My grandparents lived on that street, and every summer that's where I spent my time. So I'm a big fan of community pools and getting our young people to be water safe and a nice place for them to go. So again, awarded $50,000 for the replastering of both of those pools. And still a lot going on in the county and a lot to shift through as we're coming out of COVID. The supervisor will continue to be an advocate for our businesses and our communities and partnering with the Chamber of Commerce to hopefully get everyone successfully moving forward and back to a regular revenue stream and kids back in school. So thank you.
Thanks, Crystal. And also just want to thank the supervisor for the workforce development grant that was awarded to the Oceanside, Carlsbad, and Vista Chambers, along with the San Diego North EDC. We're all partnering together with Tri-City Medical Center on a workforce development project to build a video library of career opportunities in the Tri-City region. So stay tuned for more information on that. But thank you to the supervisor.
You're welcome. I didn't want to steal your thunder on that because you guys have been working hard. So yes, I'm excited to see that.
Thank you. We don't have any of our council members on the call, but I will give a real quick update. The city held a city council workshop yesterday to select a provider to operate an Oceanside homeless shelter. And they did select the San Diego Rescue Mission to operate that facility. And the other quick update from the city is last night they held a workshop on the beach sand issue. I missed the beginning of it, but the gist of it is they will be recommending some options to City Council at an August meeting, and one of those options does include groins for sand retention, a pilot program. So beach sand has been a huge issue in our community, so we look forward to moving forward and doing whatever we can to keep sand on our beaches. So just a quick announcement from the chamber. Crystal did mention that we had our first large in-person event last week, and we are planning our first mixer back in person on July 22nd at the Ivy Ranch Park Association. So we'd love to see all of you there. And then our next Emerging Issues Forum, which will be on August 5th, will be in person here at the Chamber office in our conference room. And our speaker will be Dr. Godfrey Gibbison, who is the new Dean of Extended Learning at Cal State San Marcos. So we look forward to that presentation. And then a couple other presentations that we're working on for September and October would be hopefully an update on the sand issue. And then we're going to have Eric Bruvold from the San Diego North EDC give an update on the regional economy. So with that, do we have any organizations on the call that have updates?
I'd like to give an update, Scott, if I could. So one issue in Oceanside is that the streets are in horrible disrepair, and the city has been unable to keep up on the street maintenance. And one of the things that they're attempting to do right now is impose upon users of the public right-of-way, like AT&T, SDGE, and others, a requirement to sign a utilities agreement that says that we will basically maintain the asphalt on the street for life, which is illegal and is being misappropriately applied or is misappropriately applying a California Public Utilities Commission statute that says that utilities have to inspect and maintain their facilities. And they're extending that to the street, which is a responsibility of the city. So we're having conversations with the city and between our city attorneys. So just wanted people to be aware of that. And then also on the digital divide, rural broadband issue, there's a lot of American Rescue Plan money coming to cities, coming to the county. And the reason that companies have been unable to serve broadband in a lot of areas is just because it's cost prohibitive. So these kinds of funds could make up the difference in the economics to make it viable to place broadband in those areas that are unserved. So to the extent that the city has funds for that, I know the county has allocated $10 million to that. AT&T is definitely willing to partner and participate on trying to serve those areas that have unmet needs for internet. And that's my AT&T report. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Anyone else have a quick update?
Sure, I'll go, Scott, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Craig Balvin with the San Diego County Water Authority. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to let everyone know that the Water Authority Board of Directors last week voted to adopt a 2-year budget, $1.7 billion. So it pales in comparison to the counties. This is actually a 0% increase from the previous budget. You know, more than 90% of the 2-year budget is actually for buying and treating water or building and financing infrastructure. So very large percentage to just buying and treating that water, delivering it throughout the county. And a large portion of, so, you know, related to that is the fact that water rates will increase though. So even though the budget stays the same, water rates will go up for untreated and treated water to our member agencies. The impact is a little bit different across the county, but in general, the increase is a 3.3 and 3.6 increase. And that's primarily related to increases from our wholesaler, Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, for imported water, increased imported water costs from them. So all of that kind of flows downhill, if you will. And so we need to increase rates and charges for the water we deliver to the county throughout the county. But overall, a 0% increase year over year from the previous 2-year budget. So I just wanted to let everyone know that, and let me know if you have. Oh, and one last thing. I think I mentioned this last time. You know, there's been a lot of news stories in the media about the drought in California, and, you know, we may be in the midst of a prolonged drought. And, you know, there's a lot of concern, not just in other parts of the state of California, but in San Diego County. So the Water Authority has begun a pretty extensive outreach and education campaign to let folks know that the investments that we've made in water supply reliability in this region, the rates we pay for the water, ensure that you know, the water supply in our county is reliable and safe. And so you may see some social media posts, you may see some ads in local community papers, just sort of letting folks know that we got this, and we have a safe and adequate supply through at least the end of the year. You know, there's other talk about the state of the Colorado River and what kind of cutbacks may occur there for the first time in its history, that may occur next year. So stay tuned for that. I'll make sure to keep everyone updated about that, but just wanted to let you know those couple of things that are going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. We appreciate the update. Anyone else?
Hey, Scott. I hope I don't jump in forward. Anybody, this is Gumara with Main Street Oceanside. Just wanted to report a couple things. Not sure if you guys recall, but we passed a property business improvement district back in 2019. Happy to report that all 3 major pillars are active now in downtown Oceanside. So there is additional services for maintenance, which we had pressure washing. We have a courtesy crew out there doing regular day pickups of litter and weed abatement and graffiti reporting and property damage. So, and also last pillar is security, which we hire all state security services in downtown Oceanside. They'll be out there active 7 days a week. Right now, the state is from 3 to 11. So during the weekend, we'll have a couple security services out there. The main idea or principle of this service is to engage with transients, engage with the community. They're going to be like safety ambassadors down there to make sure that they have eyes and ears down the street, so we can make sure that everybody's having a great time and a great experience in downtown Oceanside. So happy to report that. Also, lastly, our Sunset Market is back and it's coming back with a bang. So this is our second week happening today from 5 to 9. If you guys forgot, but there's also something if you guys haven't been to, there's a parking structure right next to it at SALT. You guys can park there for $5 all day. So so you guys can enjoy an evening with your loved one, friend, colleague, and you can dine at one of our restaurants, or you can also come and experience the market yourself. So welcome back, guys.
Thanks, Gumaro, and congrats on getting that market back open again. That's great news.
Morning, Scott. This is Joe Baldwin.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, good morning, everyone, as well. Just want to give you a brief update on the SDG&E side. I'm SDG&E's Public Affairs Manager for North County Coastal Area, and wanted to share a couple points. As you know, our mission is to be the cleanest, safest, and most reliable energy infrastructure company in America. As a part of that, we've recently adopted our sustainability strategy, which includes a net zero GHG emissions by 2045. And that plan is available at sdge.com/sustainability. On the safety side, we're getting ready for the adverse weather season coming up. And I'd like to remind everybody, we do have resources online to keep you updated, whether it's our website news center, which is sdgenewscenter.com, as well as on Twitter, which our Twitter handle is @SDGE. And we look forward to sharing more information in the future.
Thank you, Joe. Any other quick updates before we wrap up? All right, with that, we will look forward to seeing you all in person here at the Chamber on August 5th. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you.